All right, welcome back to another episode of the VW thing. This time it's paint. Finally, we've reached the point where we can actually bring this thing to paint. So it's probably going to be pretty boring because it's just going to be a lot of painting, sanding, repainting. So there's a lot of pieces to paint. There's like 15 other pieces to paint other than the body and the roll cage, including the hood, the trunk, and the door. Oh, I forgot the doors too. So that's another 19 pieces now. So yeah, so we're still adding pieces in there, plus all those little dash components and everything along there as well. The floor will probably be black like you're seeing here now, but everything else, including the cage, will be white. Just fleet white. Nothing interesting, nothing crazy, just easygoing fleet white. I'm not a professional painter by any stretch of the imagination, but I know enough after painting my RV white this summer, all the steps in there. So first thing, we're going to need to get it into primer, and then we can sand it back, and then we can go to white. Fortunately, with just being fleet white, I don't have to paint them all at the same time either. So you can see my mocked up paint booth for now. And so now this is set up. I have a bunch of supports in here, and I'll be hanging everything, and then I'll just be painting it as I need it. So it's probably not going to be very interesting and you watching me paint every little piece. So from this to paint will probably be a couple of minutes of time lapse, and then voila, it'll be painted, and we'll talk about what we're doing next. All right, well, there she is. She's all prepped and good to go. So we're gonna do the first section here in just primer. I've got a bunch of the dash parts here laid out as well. Kind of limited in my spacious booth here as to what I can paint, but let's get the predominant parts of the body done first. I have to do this in a couple stages because of the roll cage, because I want to be able to paint the obviously the inside where the roll cage goes, but also the back side of the cage. So I'm going to do it in two segments. I have the cage out there, and I'll be doing after the body's painted and the cage is painted, then I have to weld it in place, and then I'll paint these areas and then part of the cage as well. I'm not exactly 100% how it's going to work out, but it's just in my head right now. I think I have a plan how that's going to work out. So literally everything's wiped down. We're good to go. And I'm just mixing some paint now. And as I was just mixing this stuff up, thinking to myself, have I got everything covered? Because I hate going in there or painting anything and I realize, oh, I forgot to like drain the lines of the compressor, or I don't know, whatever. I forgot to clean the gun out or whatever. But as soon as I'm in there, I'll realize, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. And then I'll have to stop and do it all over again. So I'm gonna mix this paint up, pour it into the container, and then start painting. So let's get this done. All right, I bring in the paint booth, but I kind of don't want to bring the camera in there because I'll get paint all over it. I've already got paint all over from the last time I did this, so I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. All right, it's the next day and the paint or the primer is on. Actually turned out really well. There's no thin spots, which is cool. I was kind of worried about always kind of worried about getting the bottom edge in there, but it seems to be pretty good. So at this point, I just need to scuff it back and we can go directly to paint, because we're not actually doing any body work to this thing. I used to bring cars to the car show in bare metal so you could see all the work that's gone on to them and all the construction lines. But in this case, we're actually going to paint and not doing any body work. So you'll see all the weld lines and all the construction lines, which I think could be it's going to be a pretty cool look. So yeah, I just got to scuff this back a little bit, and I think we are good to go for paint. So let's get scuffing. All right, it's time for white. So hopefully this turns out all right. Like I said, I'm no professional at this, but watched a lot of Paint Society videos, which were very helpful in painting my RV outside. That was a very steep learning curve. But I think I haven't mastered it, I just get it. So I know what to look for. I scuffed everything back on the thing today, so it's good to go. I might go back and have another final, I don't know, feel of it, I guess. Just make sure there's no dust on it in my dust-free zone over there. 20% of this. Into that line there. And that should be it. Clean the gun out. This isn't so much, so you know what's going on. It's more of me just going over all the steps in my head so I know what the hell's going on. There, you might as well come in for a minute. I'm just going to look over everything one more time. There's that tack cloth. Feels pretty good. All these parts looking fine. Probably should have had these hanging, but whatever. We'll see how these work out. These are all feeling pretty good. Yeah, let's just paint. Worst case now would be me running out of paint. So let's just give her. And maybe in that case, if I do run out of paint, maybe I should just paint the interior first. Good morning. Haven't actually looked at the car yet to see how it turned out. Wow, it's pretty damn shiny actually. It's dry. It's always good. Wow, that is pretty darn shiny. Wow. All right. I'm impressed that this turned out so well for being in a, booth. There's a couple little spots there. Oh, no, I just wiped it off. Maybe that was stuck after the paint was drying. Wow, okay. So this is also single stage. There won't be any clear on this. So this is just how it's gonna be. I'm pretty impressed with that. So, oh yeah, let's beat these bits as well. Good enough. As I am no painter, and this is the second vehicle I've ever painted, so I went around with the light when I was painting and make sure I was getting really good coverage, so there's no bare spots, no plain open spots, everything's good. So, cool. So I guess the next stage now is to get this thing out of here, bring the cage in, and I can paint a bunch of smaller parts. Once the cage is painted, then I can weld it in, and then I'll have to do some trickery on the back end then to repaint everything, but with the cage attached to the car. So let's get that thing out, and we'll start prepping the rest of this stuff. Might as well fill the booth up with all the other stuff that I can squeeze in there. Yeah, hood, doors, front, grill, or the cage, of course. All right, more sanding, more painting. All right, round two in the booth now. We've got the nose piece, two fenders, the side scoops, the cage and the radiator support. Unfortunately, that's all I can fit in there at this time. So let's get this stuff painted. All right, so I came in to check on the paint this morning for the stuff we did yesterday, and this is all great. No problem. Everything's great. Great, great, great. Fantastic, great, right? But that learning curve thing, right? So this is something I wasn't expecting. So what I did is I wrapped the thing up in just a plastic cover. I thought I was doing the smart thing by keeping the dirt off of it. The paint may have been wet. I can't even believe I did this. But if you can see that in the reflection on the tops of the surfaces, you can see like a marbling effect. You just see that there. So unfortunately, the whole car is covered in that effect right now. So I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't even know what to do right now. I think I have to sand it and repaint it. I don't know anything about polishing paint, but I'm hoping I can ask a few friends about what I can do. Like you see it on the reflection there, even on the interior pieces there. So I'm like, holy crap, it's all down the sides, it's everywhere. So that learning curve just took another notch up there. Damn it, you can see it everywhere. So yeah, well, it's like I'm learning how to polish paint now, I guess, or repainting it. Dang. See that? The sun is just coming out. It's March 14th. The snow is finally receding. The glaciers are melting. So spring is here pretty much. And that thing is now painted. Let's reveal it today. So all right. So I painted the back of the roll cage last night. Yeah, it's fine. Good, 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 good. So now we can unbag it. So I had to weld the roll cage in separately because I really wanted to paint behind the roll cage in the body, and the only way I could do that properly was to have the cage out when I painted it, and then weld the cage in, and then just paint the rear sections here. So now that that's painted, everything is painted, now I can unbag it and actually start assembling. So yeah, let's get this thing unbagged and then we'll talk more about it. I'm afraid to stick my hands in the stove. I know. Why is this car so heavy?
It's not bad rolling that way, but rolling this way.
All right. Now begins the reassembly. First it starts with wiring. After we catch our breath, apparently.
we have heart attack.
All right, so now that the car is out of the booth, I've had a better look at that horrible mistake I made by putting the plastic bag on it. And it's obviously still there. Haven't really done anything with it, but you just sort of see it in the reflection there in a couple spots. Pretty much on the top surfaces. It didn't really do anything to the sides, which is good. But there's a couple of spots. Here's one. So you can sort of see that in the reflection there. Can I get you? Maybe you can see that. I can't see it on my tiny screen, but I'm hoping you can see that there. So let's try this rubbing compound and we'll get these marks gone. It's just a super fine, I guess like a paint polishing abrasive. It doesn't take much actually to get rid of that marbling. I feel like I'm doing an infomercial here. Much better. So hopefully you can see that in the reflection now, but that's pretty much gone. So that was a very big lesson learned there. So now I just got to do the rest of the surfaces. So now that the body was painted, my first priority was to get the wiring back into it, just so we could turn it on, because you may remember from the very first episode when we went to go turn on the dash and the center console and everything, the car ran, but we had no lights or instrumentation on the front there. And although the nav screen worked, none of the buttons here worked. And I guess it was just the corrosion. I don't know. It was just easy to replace them. So I was able to horse trade a lot of the parts that we weren't using on the GTR for parts we needed. So, and now we're finally at the stage where we can turn it back on. So the wiring is all back into the car, although a lot of it we're not using, and I had to shorten it for the 13 inches of the body, like, you know, like the door connectors, not hooking anything up on the doors. I had a glove box light there I got to deal with yet. You know, the seats, not using any of that stuff, but I didn't want to disconnect it and remove it from the harness. I didn't want to get into that whatsoever. I'm just going to leave all that stuff in there, just tuck it away, and hopefully we don't have any issues, including all the airbag sensors and connectors for the airbags. Those are all disconnected as well. In fact, the only airbag that'll be in here still will be the one in the center of the steering wheel, although there will be nothing to trigger it for it to go off. So I'm hoping we just don't throw any codes there and we get an engine warning light or an SES light or something like that, right? So let's fire this thing up. Not fire it up, let's just turn the ignition on. I didn't want to do anything until I had all the wiring back into it and the fuel lines connected, in case, you know, as soon as you turn on the ignition, prime the fuel pump or something like that, right? So let me just brought on here. Enough. So this is it. I got a battery cable, 2 battery cables that go from the front of the car to the back of the car. Put this thing up. Get some spark there. Not gonna worry about doing that down too tight. I also need to get all this stuff powered up so I can determine which one, you know, even on the taillights here, which one's a stop, brake, turn signals, stuff like that, right? All right, so this is the key. You got nothing going on here. No lights. Good lock. Oh, it says key. I know this is an RF thing. Shouldn't it just, no. It's telling me it's locked. Well, that was short-lived. Key. All right. Key's in. Dang. Well, now what do I gotta do? What does that little key indicator down there mean? Oh, I just hit the door lock button. I guess that just means I unlock the doors. Oh, what's that green light? Signal's flashing. All right, I guess on a normal, somebody with a GTR would probably tell me that that's when you hit the lock button, it flashes the lights. That's probably what happens, right? So I guess the key fob RF location stuff is working, I guess. Still says lock. Oh, look at the key icon back there. All right, what does this all mean? I do not know yet. Do I have to have the brake down to do this? I don't know. All right, let me figure this out. All right, so after a late night of trying to diagnose what was going on, I think I have it sorted. I haven't solved it, but I think I have it sorted here. So the key is indeed, the car is receiving the key. And when I press the button, we get the lock thing didn't come on there, but we do get a key indicator there telling me that there's something going on with either the key or the car. And if I take this key and I put it, I don't know, over there, I'll wait for this light to go out. It's out, and now I hit the button here. It's telling me that there's no key, and it should give me, yeah, an indicator that it needs to go in here, and this is lit as well. So the RF part of the key is working. So the antenna that monitors this thing is working. There's actually antennas all over this car. I think it's got one under the dash. This is one here. I think there's one in the front bumper. There's one in the rear bumper, and there's one in the trunk. They're all over the place. So I don't think that's the problem. But believe it or not, I looked in the owner's manual. The owner's manual says, for 2013 Nissan here, go to the dashboard, and we got intelligent, well, let me turn on my glasses here. Intelligent key warning light. This light warns of a malfunction with the electrical steering lock system or the intelligent key system. Crap. You know why? Because now that I know the key is working, there's a problem with the steering lock system. And I actually had to go back into the old videos because in episode or video number 6 is where I modified the steering column here. And I couldn't use the complete steering column, and I actually threw out the intelligent key lock system. Yeah, it was a bit of a bone move in my head. I thought, I don't need this. I just thought it was a steering lock, something so you could lock the wheel so nobody would steal your car. Turns out I had to go horse trading. So talked to the guys at the GTR club. They had an extra steering column, and just got this in today. So that's the part that I need to plug in. And this is the steering column lock. And I've got that plug on the end of the dash there. I need to sort out. Of course, I'm not going to reinstall this because in episode 6, you can see I only used the steel shaft. And actually, this is the instrument mount here. This is the instrument part right here. And I actually replicated a flange that looks just like that and welded it to the steel. So the instrument panel now bolts to the steel part, and I got rid of all the adjustable steering column here. So I need to get this box off. Unfortunately, it's also got these tamper-proof bolts that are broken off in there, so I have to get those out nicely without melting this down and plug it in. So I think that's going to solve it. So let's get that thing off, get it installed, and try this again. Those things are not in very tight. Wow. I'm surprised. Well, that could have been a lot worse. I was thinking worst case, I'd have to cut a slot through there and use a flat-headed screwdriver to get those off. Nice. All right, you can see that, I guess that pin pops out and locks the steering column in place. All right, let's plug it in. I guess I'm just gonna let that hang there and see what happens. I mean, best, I'll probably just not zip tie it, but mount it up to the framework in there. But that's good enough for now. Let's try it. Okay, power on. Oh boy, stuff's stressful, man. Okay, so gonna hit the button. Oh, yes, fucking A. All right. We got, oh shit, the backup camera's working. Let's put that in park. That's better. Now it says park. GPS map's working, that's good. The passenger side airbag's off, yeah, okay. Awesome, 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 awesome! We got full gauges. Sweets. We've got none of this is working anyway. Cool. Info. Oh yes, good, 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 good. Wow, it still thinks we're in Florida. This car came from Florida. Info, settings, navigation, connecting to my phone, no. Volume, audio off. Doesn't matter, we've got hazards. Yes, those are working. All right, all right, all right, all right. That means I can assemble the rest of it in confidence now. Although I don't know what that warning light is quite yet, but I'll get the scan tool on here eventually. And lights. Oh yeah, you can see the lights are working. That's cool. It's got 54,000 miles on it. All right. Anyway, man, I am stoked. Tim is going to be stoked that all that stuff works. So fantastic. Well, let's get this thing wrapped up. I got another load of paint about to get painted. What do we got? Got the windshield frame, 2 fenders, and a hood. and then we can start assembling all that. So, woohoo! Let's get this car done. All right, so now that the hood is on-ish, let's get these fenders mocked up and put in place. Does anybody else use hockey sticks for hood props? Or is that just a Canadian thing? Stage of painting. I've got a couple of black things in there. I got the bumpers, yeah, both bumpers, grills, and the grill surrounds. And that's it for the black. And then we can go ahead and actually put the bumpers on, which means we can finish the exhaust. And then once we get the front and bumper on, then I can put the intercoolers, the racks, all the intercooler plumbing, etc. So let's get this painted and get this stuff installed. All right, so last night, as you know, I got the black paint done. Let's go check it out. I'm no painter, and I'm really happy with the way my paint is turning out. This is just chassis black. It's got a pretty cool semi-gloss reflection on there. It's actually all right. So we got both bumpers done and the grill guard and all the surrounds. So let's get the stuff installed. I want to see the contrast between the white and the black on the body. So before I rip into that monster and get the jitters and can't speak right, let's wrap up this video so we can move on to the next stage. So this, I think, completes the reassembly, or the paint and the reassembly video. It took a long time to get this paint done because, honestly, I'm not a painter. So there was a big learning curve on doing this, but I like it in white rather than patchy yellow and bare metal everywhere. So this is pretty cool. There's still a lot to do yet. Well, actually, there's only one more video to do, and that is put the seats in it, because I have to reupholster the seats. I need to put a new cover on it. I need to put the doors on. And that's really about it. Oh, of course, I'm getting it running. So this car right now, we can turn it on. Accessory on. Everything works as it should. We got lights. We've got everything here. Let's turn on the lights. There we go. We got taillights, we got signals, we got brake lights, license plate lights, everything. It's all good to go. The only thing I need to do is add oil, coolant, and fuel, and we can actually get this thing to fire up, hopefully. So, like I said, I think that's going to be it for this video. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing outside in the sun to see what it looks like for a proper reveal. Those holes worked out pretty nice too. There was a lot of wiring that went back into this thing, a lot of head scratching, because you may remember from the first episode, everything under that dash had rusted out, or had really badly rusted from the moisture that was inside of the car when it was sealed up. So ended up replacing the radio, the navigation, the cluster, almost all the sensors underneath. The only one I couldn't get was the run flat, or no, not the run flat, was it the wheel pressure tire sensor? That one, still having a communication issue with that one. But everything else, and the brakes have been bled now, so everything else is good to go. And you can see the one other wiring thing I'm still trying to work on here. So this is the VW wiper system here. I really want to get that to communicate with the GTR on and off on the wiper switch here. So I'm hoping it should be But we got high speed, low speed, intermittent, park, and a ground. So maybe 5 wires in there. Even if I can just get them to sweep and park, I'm happy with that. So yeah, I really like this thing in white. I keep saying that, but look at those exhausts. Those are sick. That's pretty cool, the titanium poking out in there. This thing should be really fast, like probably way too fast for this little car. So anyway, got to add some more character to it. We'll get the seats into it, get the top on it, get the doors on it, and then we can actually take this thing outside and fire it up and take it for a rip. So that'll be a really cool day. Everything in here is all put back in. We're all good to go. Nice. All right, so if you liked the video, as always, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And then, oh yeah, I gotta get these pans out to be carpeted yet. I'm gonna throw some carpet on that. I figure we don't really have a back seat, but you need a place to put your gear, right? So those pans will be great just to throw bags on or groceries or whatever you got back there. And also has to go to the audio guys. Although we can turn the stereo on, all the amps and everything that were underneath the seats on the GTR were all completely waterlogged. So we need to get new amps, and the audio guys have got to put speakers in the back and on the doors as well. So yeah, a couple of steps still to go after I'm done with it. And I'm pretty sure Tim's got a pretty awesome wrap idea that he's gonna do on this one. So looking forward to that as well. But let's wrap this video up and move on to the next stage, because there's only one more video left, and that's it. There we go. One last parting shot, this time with the doors. Just wanted to complete it. So this car is looking squat and tough. Love it.